if it snows up there, we're going to have to reroute the course. And
Yeah.
thank you that we have not had to do that yet. And so now that it's in August, we will likely never get snow, but we are going to have some smoke possibly from the wildfires. And the one thing with that is that we're really lucky where we are in the mountain pass, that when the wind blows through, the smoke can come in all in one day. You won't even be able to see the mountains around. But then overnight, the wind can just blow it all out.
Yep.
And so we can't make any calls until the morning of the race, but we did purchase like a device that reads the air quality. And so the day before the race, we're checking the air quality. The day of the race, we're checking the air quality to make sure. And so far, we haven't had to cancel any races due to the smoke. And fingers crossed, we won't have to. But it is a concern for sure.
It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. Today, we're beyond the starting line again. We're here with Kirsti Dolson from Sinister Sports. We're going a little bit north of the border, or I guess you could call it east for me. I don't know. I might be further north than you, so I don't know. Should I go southeast for me and north for Robbie?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you are a little bit south from where we are. We're not quite as high up as Alaska.
Yeah. Okay.
We're sandwiched in between.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to dive into a race that everybody who's in the ultra world knows about. It's a phenomenal race, but I don't know a lot about it, and I would love to learn more. And some of the audience probably doesn't know. But today we're going to talk about the Divide 200. Kirsti, talk to us a little bit about what is the Divide 200. How did it come about? Yeah, just give us I wouldn't say a brief, but give us an overview on what the Divide is.
Yeah, sure. The Divide 200 is one of the only few 200 milers that Canada is hosting. And there hadn't been one in Canada for quite a while until we came up with it about 4 years ago now. And we had always wanted to get into the realm of the 200s. They're growing quite a bit. The community around them is quite amazing. And so it was 3 years ago when we were just talking about, how can we host a 200 and how can we make it really stunning in Canada? And we decided to do it along the Continental Divide, which is this huge mountain range that basically straddles the provinces of Alberta and British Columbia, and just trying to incorporate that scenery as much as possible and all the landscape as well. And so this event has snowballed. It's now being called the double black diamond of 200 miles. We didn't even realize it was going to be that challenging. Sinister Sports is known for very challenging events, but it's just our jam to get way up in those Canadian Rocky Mountains. And now that it's being called double black diamond, we're going, oh, shoot, it is a really tough one, isn't it? So it's not just 200 miles. Like, if you want a mountain adventure, we got one for you.
Love it. What is the overall elevation? So are we above 10,000 for the majority of the time?
Yeah, I was just joking around about how I have to look it up because
No, I totally get that.
My brain is absolutely fried from all these different courses. So it's about 12,000 meters, and so that's going to be over 40,000 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the average elevation of where where you're sitting? Is it at about 10,000 or is it a little bit higher?
Oh, I'm going to have to go to meters on that one. And where the elevation at the base is going to be around 1,200 meters. And then we're getting up into about 2,800 meters, and whatever that converts to into feet.
Yeah, so I don't think you're quite over 10,000, but
no, it's not over 10,000.
Yeah.
Canada only has a few that go over 10,000, and so we're just going to be right below that.
Okay. Well, that is important though, because then you start you really have to train for altitude when you're getting up at around 10,000, and that actually becomes a really big factor. I'm a dumb American, so the conversion rate from meters to feet, it takes a little bit, but I know it's about 3,200 3,200 meters is around 10,000 feet. So I see Robbie over here clicking away at some of the calculator stuff. So maybe he's got it figured out already. But,
nope.
Okay, we'll give him some time to figure out the meters to feet. Everybody's probably just duh, you should just know this. But anyway. So as Robbie's starting to click away on figuring out what the elevation is, you mentioned it briefly. You wanted to build an adventure into the mountains. You wanted to, feature some of the picturesque mountain scenes that are in Canada. But what is the overall why of this race? I know you said that some 200s are popular, and they are. Like, a lot of people are saying the 200's the new 100, and they're, the races are continued going on and to the 3 and thousands of miles, which is crazy to me. But what is the ultimate why behind this race?
The ultimate why behind creating the Divide 200 is to show that Canada really is a mecca of trail running, and there's so much to offer. Our community just bleeds their hearts into the trails. We have so many organizations that are creating beautiful trails, and there's a lot to offer. And it's unfortunate that we find that most Canadians know about the races and the trail organizations that are here, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of word out to the European countries and throughout the rest of North America. And we're really trying to say that, come on up, hop across the border. And we have so much to offer here. It is beautiful. It is friendly. And the races that we host are like A++ as far as like organization, logistics, and what we offer as well. And so we just really want people to come to Canada and see what we have, because it's by far one of the greatest experiences. And what we found over the last 3 years of hosting the Divide 200 is that when international competitors come to the race, they go, holy smokes, why do people not know about this? Like, how come I'm the first one to tell my friends about this? And we're like, we're here, come on up. So we're really just trying to make the trail running community more worldwide. Like, I think that there's a lot of opportunity for people to travel around to different countries, experience the trails that are offered.
I think some of our experienced ultra runners, someone who's been in the game, like myself and Robbie, we've been in the game for quite a while. I think we understand that, or we know about, the Canadian races, and we know certainly about the Divide. But I think some of the people that are getting into ultra, and it's starting to, catch on pretty good here in the US, and I'm assuming in Canada as well, but a lot of people don't know about the Divide and some of the other races that Sinister has. So that's really important. And I think, like, I'm not saying our platform's big, but using our platform to help, raise awareness for around some of these races is definitely a good thing, in my opinion. I think at this point, like, let's move over to where Robbie has talk about a little bit of the logistics. You mentioned it a little bit, but I think diving deep into it would be cool here.
For sure.
Is this a point-to-point race?
No, it's not. It's starting at the Castle Mountain Resort, and then it's doing several loops up and down throughout the mountains, and it's heading back to Castle Mountain Resort again. And so if you look at the course map, it's a very stretched out course along that mountain ridge, but it's all coming back to the central location.
What are the average miles for those loops? Are they all over the place?
Well, yeah, they're all over the place. Yeah. If we're looking at the distances between each of the checkpoints or aid stations, they're typically going to be, let's say, if it's 30 kilometers. So it could
18.
be 18 miles or so in between each one. And then they have various checkpoints along the way. Some of them are going to be a little bit more remote than others, but we're really trying to spread it out as much as we can across the mountain range.
That's pretty common, I think, in 200s to have that 15 to 20 miles in between.
Yeah, the first section is a little bit long, actually. And so the most beautiful part of the course is called Loch Hullot Ridge. And we have just tried so hard to make sure that that section stays in the race. And so that's the longest part where the racers are going to feel as though they, have some time in between the checkpoints, or maybe don't have their crew or their drop bags. And so there's going to be about a good 60-kilometer section, and where we've put a checkpoint about 18 kilometers into the start of the race. And so just over 10 miles. And then the next one is going to be about, I guess another 18 miles or so. And then they're really not going to see any crew until about 40 miles into the race. And so for a lot of the racers, it's just before it starts to get dark. And then that's when we're like, okay, major aid station, sleep station, here's your drop bags, crew are available. But our goal was like, let's get the hardest, most difficult part of the race at the very, very beginning, so that these people are seeing it in daylight. They've got their wits about them. They can experience it. And then from there, the course really starts to smooth out on some more common terrain.
What is when you say most difficult? Like, what are we talking? Are we talking about some of our biggest climbs in that
Oh yeah.
section? Are we gaining a lot of elevation in that first 40?
Yeah, a lot of elevation, double black diamond. And so this is where it's so cute. There's a couple of videos online where, people have got their GoPros and they're like, this can't be the way. This is not the way, because they're scrambling up a little ridge and, on the side of a cliff. And it's all safe if you're on the trail, but you got to make sure that you stay on the trail when you're up there. And it's just so beautiful. It's our jam. Like we love that type of terrain. And so people get a little bit surprised in the beginning, and we say, make sure you get to checkpoint 3 and get past checkpoint 3, because the beginning of the race can scare some people. It's a little bit unnerving when you get up that high. And we say, like, just carry on after that, because you'll be fine. You're not going to have that exposure anymore after that first 40 miles or so.
In that first 40 miles, what would you say out of your 40,000 foot of gain that you're estimating? What would you say you get in that first 40?
So in meters, it's going to be about 2,500 meters. So Robbie, whatever that math is in defeat.
I know it's not. I know it's probably like 8 or 9, but
yeah, it's probably closer to 8.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot in 40 miles. So
yeah,
it's
quite a bit. But the beauty is worth the effort that goes into it, and people often get up to the summit and they take a little break just to just melt into the view that's up there. Like I can't even explain how beautiful it is. For all the mountains that I've done throughout the Canadian Rockies, like dozens and dozens of them, when I finally was flagging the course with Matthew Shepard, who does a lot of the trail flagging for Sinister Sports, and we're up there, and I was like, just like, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been on planet Earth. And like, I've done so much, and I couldn't believe that I was just seeing another mountain range that was that beautiful.
awesome.
So for international runners, where do you fly into?
They fly into Calgary, Alberta. That would be the best place to land. It's going to be about a 2-hour drive from the airport. And from there, you are going towards the mountains into some smaller mountain communities. And so most people will stay either at Castle Mountain Resort, or they'll go into Crow's Nest Pass, Alberta. And there's another town close by called Pincher Creek, Alberta as well.
What would people, what kind of accommodations are going to be there? Like food, grocery stores? It sounds like there's lodging.
Yeah, there's lodging. There are hotels. It is a smaller mountain area, so lodging can book up. People do want to, plan preemptively to make sure that they have their accommodations. Same with restaurants, being a smaller town. When we get off trail, it's sometimes 9 o'clock at night, and we go, oh, darn, everything's closed. And so there's a little bit of planning involved, because, we live off of A&W all year long, because that's the only thing that's still open by the time we get off trail. Yeah. And so, it's cute, it's quaint, there are amenities, but people do need to plan in advance to have those accommodations.
Good to know. People coming in from, wherever they're coming in from, show up and there's nothing there, or if there's a little bit there. And I know a lot of people plan to pick up a lot of their nutrition, because flying with nutrition can be quite fun with a bunch of powder in your bags.
Yeah, flying into Calgary, Alberta, it is a city that has 1 million people in it. There's lots of amenities in Calgary, but that is 2 hours away from the host site of the race. And so most people stock up when they're in that major city. And then we do have local running stores available as well, like for those last minute needs. And so we have the cute little store called Spry Active that's in Crow's Nest Pass, and they're just readily available with whatever the runners need.
That's perfect. Then for crew, you said you had the base, home base, I guess you call it. What are the other crew spots that they can go to?
Yeah, we have several crew spots available, and we try to make sure that they have access to everywhere they can along the way. We just have to make sure that it's like safe places for the crew to go as well. So checkpoint 3 is going to be the very first place that the crew, family and friends, spectators can meet up with the runners, and then from there there's about 6 or 7 other spots that the crew can go. So we have 13 checkpoints in total, and so I'd say it's about 60% of them that the crew can go to.
Then when do you allow pacers?
Yes. Yeah.
When can they jump in?
The pacers, gosh, I'm going to have to try to remember that. Yeah, the pacers can jump in. I've got, Shep is sleeping next to me. He can't answer this question as we're pulled over on the side of the highway. The pacers can jump in early on. I just can't remember right now which checkpoint it is. I think it It might be checkpoint 3, but I would have to just double check that.
That's 40 miles.
Yeah.
Then what kind of food and amenities will be at the aid stations and the sleep stations?
Oh, everything. Our food spread is like above and beyond. We have chicken burgers, hamburgers, quesadillas. The quesadillas is a funny story because one of our racers was like, "You can't host a 200 miler without quesadillas." And I was begging and begging the owner of Sinister Sports, Brian, and he's like, "I'm not bringing quesadillas out into the middle of the mountains. Like, what the heck?" And so sure enough, we just created like an inside joke about it. And now the Divide 200 has quesadillas every single time.
Probably a big hit too.
Yeah, a huge hit. One of our racers this past year who finished the Divide 200, he proclaimed to have eat like 9 chicken burgers throughout the race. And so like,
Nice.
and then, but then we have another racer, Adam Kupany, who was like, "If I eat one more pancake," like just like, "Sorry, okay, no more pancakes." So, we do offer a really widespread. We are sponsored by Tailwind, so we have Tailwind at all of our events. We have Sun River Honey, which is a local energy gel company that's made out of honey. And then we also have NAC at the Divide 200. And so we try our best to have everything possible. The racers can email us in advance if they need gluten-free, vegan, etc. And so, Brian, the owner of Sinister Sports, he tries to treat I shouldn't say he does treat the checkpoints like they are a restaurant. And so we follow all of the safety protocols that a restaurant would as well with the food handling, etc. And so people are often very surprised at what we do offer at the checkpoints.
It's awesome. That's something interesting you brought up about food handling safety, because I don't think that's ever really talked about when it comes to aid stations. I mean, you lube up and then you reach in and grab a handful of M&Ms, and so that's I mean, it's the truth. It's funny, but it's the
so
truth,
true.
right? And so it's as interesting that you mentioned the food safety, because
Yeah.
it's definitely, germs are spread at aid stations.
No,
And I think someone who's never run an ultra before and they get to an ultra aid station, they're like, "What's going on here?"
our little bowl of jelly beans has like the little tong scoops to pick up the jelly beans with.
That
and
no
like
one ever uses.
our warehouse is just full of kitchen supplies, and it's
I love
just it's all done to spec, and that's really important to the company.
Talk to me about what time of year does this take place, and is there elemental things that could I wouldn't say inhibit, but maybe change the course, or we're talking wildfires, because I know fires in the mountains are a big thing. So wildfires, storms high up in the peaks. What does that affect it any bit?
All of it is an effect. Yeah, it was actually a very serious point, but we had on the website that recommended gear was having spikes on your feet in case there was ice on the mountains. And people were like, "Wait, what? What do you mean there's going to be ice?" And we had originally been hosting this race in September, and like, in the Canadian Rockies, like there might actually be ice on the mountains if we get a big dump of like early snow. And so we've been lucky. The first year that we hosted it was beautiful weather. The next 2 years we got dumped on with rain, and now we've actually moved the race this year to August, and I'm hoping that really helps to bring in some traction, because it is in the warmest month of the year here in Canada, and it's not during the school year, and we've been lucky so far that we haven't had the crazy weather that would maybe have to force in a course change. Any kind of route change if there was snow. And so, like I said, La Culotte being the biggest, most double black diamond part of the course, if it snows up there, we're going to have to reroute the course. And thank you that we have not had to do that yet. And so now that it's in August, we will likely never get snow, but we are going to have some smoke possibly from the wildfires. And the one thing with that is that we're really lucky where we are in the mountain pass, that when the wind blows through, the smoke can come in all in one day. You won't even be able to see the mountains around you. But then overnight, the wind can just blow it all out. And so We can't make any calls until the morning of the race, but we did purchase like a device that reads the air quality. And so the day before the race, we're checking the air quality like at the start line. The day of the race, we're checking the air quality to make sure. And so far, we haven't had to cancel any races due to the smoke. And fingers crossed, we won't have to. But it is a concern for sure.
You mentioned moving to August and that being the warmest part of the year. What temperatures can you expect?
So I would say at a highest of all high, it would maybe be 30 degrees Celsius. So what's that going to be like?
68.
Yeah, it's not going to be terrifying. And then at the coldest, it could be degrees Celsius, and it's all very doable. It's not going to be too hot. It's not going to be too cold. And so even if it was raining, it's just going to feel refreshing. There is a difference with about when you go up high into the mountains, as with anywhere, there's going to be a big fluctuation if you're at the summit. And so
For sure.
we do say, like, we recommend that people always have the right clothing on them for all 4 seasons, because you just can't predict what's going to happen in the mountains.
Yeah, that leads into my next question. Is there a required gear set for this race?
No, we do
Okay.
not have mandatory gear, and that is for a specific liability reason. But what we do have for mandatory equipment is that we have purchased Garmin Mini InReaches, and we give every single racer a Garmin Mini InReach, and they carry that with them for the entire race. And that we have purchased the plan where they can text you can actually text. So if you sync it with your phone, then you can just go into the Garmin Messenger app and you can text your family and friends like, hey, I'm at the summit. Hey, I'm coming down. And that way you have like free communication no matter where you are on the course. You're going to be able to communicate with your friends, family, and crew. And then you can also communicate with us. And so if we find that their tracker hasn't moved in 20 minutes or so, we might message them and say, like, hey, are you taking a dirt nap? Like, is everything okay? And so they can just message back and be like, oh, yeah, no, I just sat down for a minute. All is good. And so it's mandatory to have that on them at all times, the timing chip, and then also the bib on them as well.
Okay. Oh, so there's a timing chip and the InReach.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I got to say something about this.
Yeah,
InReach.
go ahead.
I think this is like game changer. I think more race directors should be doing the InReach. It's there. The technology's there. I know of cell phones now, a lot of them, we can talk on satellites, but the fact of bringing people into the remote wilderness and be able to talk to their family, talk to the race directors, that is a huge, huge safety thing that I'm just going to say. But I think it frees up, some liability too on that side. But there's some races where we hear all this mandatory gear, and a lot of times, in my opinion, it just weighs the racer down, and it creates other things that could happen. But I think just having that peace of mind of be able to text any point in the SOS button, worst case, you had to hit that, is way. This is just my opinion, is way more than having safety gear on you.
Yeah. Yeah. So to be absolutely frank, we do hope that people who sign up for the race are skilled enough to know to bring a jacket on a 200 miler. Sometimes not. And then we remind them like, hey, maybe here's a jacket for you. But in all honesty, like, and this is being completely frank, our legal parties have said that if you require mandatory gear, it's your responsibility to make sure that they have it on them at all times. And we're like, well, it's really hard for us to do when they are 100 miles out on the course. Right. And so we're saying, this is our recommended gear. This is what we hope you have with you. Please, please have it. But we're not checking along the way. The only thing that we're checking for is that they have their Garmin Mini InReach, they have their timing chip, they have their bib. And trust me, I'm out there being like, come on, guys, make sure you have your jacket. But it by no means is it something that is required for them to step foot out on the course.
What is the finish rate?
It's actually really high for some reason. In the first year, it was 90%. I think even in the second year as well. It's the DNF rate is quite low. And like I said, it does happen early on. And sometimes there's a few that don't think they'll make the cutoff. And then they might stop, at around 150 miles or so. We've had some really good success rates. It's much higher. Our 100-miler success rate is 30%. Which is an anomaly to the fact that our 200-miler is basically like 90%.
What is your cutoff?
It's 100 hours.
100.
That took some begging. We started off with 96 and then,
Okay.
okay, all right, we'll give you 100 hours.
That's pretty standard, I think, for most 200 is 100.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into some fun stuff. What kind of swag we got? What are we getting if we sign up for the Divide 200?
We haven't decided yet for this year. We really try to change the swag each year and try to make it as fun and useful as possible. The most popular one we've had so far is a blanket that actually like wrapped around you like a Superman cape, and it had a little buckle here, and it was fuzzy on one side and water resistant on the other side. And so a lot of the crew the racers were wearing them at the checkpoints, and that's been the most popular one so far. But we don't give away keychains and trinkets. Like we're always trying to find something that's really useful that they can use during the race or after the race.
That's cool. I like that. How many runners do you allow?
100. It's 100 maximum. That comes with the permits from the Alberta province. And so there's nothing that we're going to be able to do about that in the meantime. We are at 100 people.
And does the race usually sell out, or is it?
Yeah, so the first 2 years it sold out. Last year we had a little bit of a dip, but this year coming up for 2026, we're already on a really strong rise for it to sell out.
And I think my last question, and one that I really, if you know me, you know this is an important one. What does the buckle look like?
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. It's massive. And so
One was massive.
Yeah, I do need to say in advance that all of the designs that we have are created in-house. And so Brian Gallant, the owner, he does most of the artwork himself, or sometimes we'll even hire a local designer for some of the t-shirts, etc. But he did design the belt buckle, and it has a mountain goat jumping on it, because the area is known for these really elusive, massive, beautiful mountain goats. And if you see one, you're just awestruck by it. And so it's the logo that's on the belt buckle, but it's fairly large. And it's what's cute is that when you go to the post-race dinner where we do the awards, is a lot of the racers actually come wearing the belt buckle to the dinner, right? And it's so I'm so happy to see that they're really proud to be sporting that around. It's not something just to be put on a shelf, like it's something to be worn. And here in Canada, we have a large and strong rodeo scene, and so the belt buckles are really important. So I think we're competing against some of the cowboy belt buckles. So we offer
I love that.
a really good one here.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Robbie, you have any other questions?
I think she answered everything I had.
Flawlessly.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I've had to flag so much of it with Shep, and I haven't done the race myself, but we've pieced it together bit by bit, and so it's like, man, I'm doing 200 miles several times a year just with the flagging and the deflagging of it. So yeah, you get to know the course quite well.
Awesome. Well, Kirsti, talk to us a little bit about what Sinister Sports offers other than the Divide 200. Where can people find Sinister Sports? If they want to sign up for one of the races, is it an ultra sign up, or do you have your own platform that you use for sign up? Give us a little bit of spill on Sinister.
Yeah, for sure. So Sinister Sports has a website. It is sinistersports.ca. You can sign up for any and all of our races on raceroster.com. And it's similar to Ultra Sign Up. And we have 9 different events throughout the year, and that start in July and go all the way until December. And one of the next events that we have coming up is a virtual event for Christmas, where we have the Advent Run Streak, where we have prizes for people who can, submit their kilometers every day as they're running for the 24 days of Christmas. We have been known for a lot of like the weird and wacky races that we host. And so the last one we just hosted is called the Dark 24 Hours Underground. And it's a 24-hour race where people go back and forth in an underground coal mine. And this coal mine is only 200 meters long, or 250 meters long.
That.
So it comes out every time you do a lap, it's half a kilometer. And so, we're just counting their laps, and we have 100 people sign up for it. It sells out. And it's just one of these like local events that everybody absolutely loves. And we're like, are you sure you want to do this again? We have people that have signed up for this race 3 years in a row to run back and forth in a dark underground coal mine.
Love it.
And yet they just love sinister things. And so we like
how many kilometers do some of the top runners get?
The record is Jody Stutt, and she has 176 kilometers, so just over 100 miles in the coal mine.
Wow, my God.
Yeah, and the winners are normally women, and all the records are by women, and
That's
they just
great. I love that.
they put their head down and they go.
I love that.
Yeah, it's fun. And we also have another 200 miler called the Sioux 200, and that's in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And the secret is that we're now expanding into Quebec as well. And so we're letting that cat out of the bag soon. So we've just got our cool ideas are spreading across all of Canada, and we're just hoping that more people travel up this way.
And you guys are the largest race team in Canada, correct?
Yeah, across all our
For
events
hosting.
we are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, Kirsti, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was great to jump into the Divide. I knew nothing about it, and so now I know everything. It's officially been added to my list of races I want to go do now because I want to see if I can make it past the first 40 miles, let's be honest.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. This is how we wrote people in. We're like,
I know,
it's scary, it's dangerous, you're going to love it.
That's true ultra running right there.
Yeah.
Well, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review, leave us a comment, subscribe to us on YouTube and any platform that you listen to podcasts. Please leave us a comment, leave us a review. Hey, go across the border and support our Canadian brothers and sisters and run a race up there. The Divide sounds like an awesome race. You know where you can find it. Go sign up. And of course, we'll see you on the trails.